Hi, I'm Delaney, and I'm currently playing Lydia in Beetlejuice the Musical on the Norwegian Viva. And one of the biggest questions I've been getting asked is the differences between the cruise production and the Broadway production or the US tour. So I would say that the biggest difference in our production versus the full-length production is that ours is cut down. Our show is an hour and 45 minutes, no intermission. I'm not sure how long the original production is. I think it's closer to like 2 hours and 15, and then it also has an intermission between Deo and the Girl Scout song, whereas we just go straight through, which is really fun. That's usually on cruises. They don't usually do intermissions just because it's not regular audiences that understand like that they would have to come back, and usually a lot of people would leave if we had an intermission, so we just go straight through. I would say the biggest difference we have, talking with the script right now, we have no Otho. Otho, the character, has just been completely cut. So when Delia refers to her guru, it's just an unnamed guru that we never meet for time purposes. And the other big differences is that 2 songs have been cut completely and other songs have been cut down. The 2 songs that have been completely cut are No Reason, which is Delia's solo in the first act, which I love, so that's a shame. And also Ready, Set, Not Yet Reprise has been completely cut. That happens in the attic between Adam and Barbara. So now how it works in our production is when they're in the attic after Fright of Their Lives, they do Fright of Their Lives, and Barbara and Adam and Beetlejuice have like a mini scene, and then Lydia interrupts them, and that's where she meets Adam and Barbara for the first time. Usually in the main production, I think they do Fright of Their Lives, and then BJ leaves, and then they do Ready, Set, Not Yet, just Adam and Barbara. Then it transitions into No Reason. They do No Reason, and then it goes back to the attic where Lydia meets them, but that whole thing, it's just like one long attic scene now. And also, other scenes have been cut down, like after Creepy Old Guy, there's usually a really long scene where, after Juno leaves, BJ says goodbye to all of the principals, and now BJ only says like a main goodbye to Lydia, and that scene has been condensed for time. And also other verses have been cut in some scenes and some songs. Like in Dead Mom, I go straight from the first verse, are you really in the ground, are you here, dead mom, or Dead Mom, and then I go straight into because Daddy's in denial, Daddy doesn't want to feel. So the picket fences verse, the second verse, has been just completely cut for time. And then Home is a little bit rearranged too. But some songs are whole, but just other verses that usually repeat prior verses are cut just for time purposes here on the ship, so that the audiences don't get bored and want to leave. I think that's it for the script changes, but obviously we do some things different since we're in the middle of the ocean, set-wise and automation-wise. So in our production, one thing that I think is really cool is that we do have the trapdoor that Adam and Barbara fall into when they die in the beginning of the show. I think on the tour that they die by electrocution, obviously because they go to so many different theaters around America, they just can't have, not every theater has a trapdoor. But since Beetlejuice has been on the Norwegian Viva since its inaugural cruise 2 years ago, they knew that Beetlejuice was going to be here, so they built the stage knowing that they needed a trapdoor, which I think is really cool. So I will show you a video of that now. So still talking about the set, we have these 4 automated wagons that will move on and off with a pulley system. So the front 2 are the attic wagons, and those come on for the attic scenes, and then one of them will rotate whenever it becomes the roof for Say My Name. And then the back 2 wagons are the credenza and the fireplace, and they will rotate and come on based on whether the house is currently the Maitland house or the Dietz house or the Beetlejuice house. And they have different faces on them, which is how they change out the set to become the different houses. Like for the Maitland set, they have a green flowery panel that they'll stick onto the foundation of the set, and then they have just like a plain gray one for the Dietz house, and then the Beetlejuice house is like all it's got like vines and tails and stuff, and it's all black. It's like very creepy looking. And so that's one thing I think that's really cool, that we do have that from the Broadway production, is that was something that I really liked when I saw it for the first time on Broadway, is how quickly the house changed out, and I never knew how they did that. And it's because they have these panels that they'll stick on to the foundation of the house in between scene changes, which I think is super cool. They'll change out the railing on the stairs as well, and they'll change out like the doors and the tables, and it's so cool. So I have a lot of videos of how the wagons move, and for how the panels are stored backstage and whatnot. So this one is the bedroom and attic stage right wagon, and this is where it lives. This is pre-show. And then these are where the panels slip into and are stored backstage. This is the top of the show whenever the Maitland house has the green panels. More about the house. I think in the Broadway production, the stairs go all the way up. Like they go here, and there's the landing that Lydia does Dead Mom on, and then they go all the way up. Like there's like 7 or 8 stairs, and then obviously they have to come down backstage, but we don't have like enough height for that. I don't know if the tour production does either, but ours just has like 1 or 2 steps, and then we go back down. And I'm about to show you the table that Beetlejuice crawls up through when Lydia says his name 3 times, and it's a really cool optical illusion. He crawls through this little hole. Now, talking about like the logistics of costumes and wigs and everything, I think we have 85 wigs on the ship, which is crazy. Like, Beetlejuice has his green, and then he has his purple and his red, and then the under when he gets his haircut in Creepy. And yeah, I mean, every ensemble member has, I think, like 6 or 7 wigs each, which I think is so cool. For costumes, I think all of the costumes except for the Netherworld dress. I have the Mourner dress, and then I go into Signature Lydia, and then I change into the yellow dress for Dinner Party, then I change back into Signature dress for Beautiful Sound and everything, going through the Netherworld, and then after home I get into the long pinafore, which is Lydia's long black dress, and then I put Big Red, which is the giant creepy old guy wedding dress that Lydia wears, over that, so that I can quickly change out of that before the jump in the line where I have the long black dress on, and then I change into a sparkly version of the black signature dress just for vows. But I think the only one I might be missing is, and it's one of my favorites, but in the Broadway production, I don't know if they have it on the tour, but in the Broadway production, it's like this grayish, looks like the signature dress, but it's like shimmery and more like silver for the Netherworld, which is so cute. But that is, I think, the only one that I don't have. One of the last technical elements that I think is different is our Sandy, our sandworm, is a lot smaller than it is in the Broadway production. I think it just like really goes onto the stage and it like flies up. Beetlejuice still does ride it in our production. He rides it on stage and then jumps off it, which is super awesome, but he is much shorter, I think, in length, just because we're on a ship. Like, I don't know where they would store a giant sandworm. I do still get to fly and jump in the line whenever Adam and Barbara are levitating me. We just have this like kind of bike seat that I like sort of sit on, but I'm like standing. I like press my legs, I guess, against it, and it like lifts me, I don't know, like 6 feet in the air, but that's really cool. We do use the pyro for both Deo and for the seance. So Beetlejuice, he like flicks it and the sparks come out of like the set, which is super cool. And also there's a lot of fire, which is funny because we're on a ship. Like, why would there be so much fire? But whenever Beetlejuice is lighting Lydia's suicide letter on fire, he lights it and it's like a flash paper, so it just dissipates into the air, which is super cool. We also have the pig in Deo, and he sings and everything, and we have the iconic Beetlejuice sign at the top of the show. Beetlejuice still does the tearaway suit in Creepy. I think that's super cool because you can't see the suit at all underneath, and then 4 of the principals pull it off of him, and then it's just there.
Thanks so much for watching.